shall always fight for. Let them you have the people. Injustice! Injustice! Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our
Yes, we are here in defense of democracy. We are here to protest against the intimidation of the Deputy Senate President, the Senate President, and the other lawmakers that are standing firm in defense of democracy in Nigeria. We are here to stop the harassment of the legislators. We learned this morning that some team of security operatives, combined team of security operatives in a Gestapo style, stormed the house of the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ekwerem Madu, stormed the house of the Senate President. They stopped his convoy and they stopped the Deputy Senate President convoy from leaving here. They didn't want them to access the National Assembly. The intention was so that there will be a kangaroo impeachment against them. But that has also failed. We are here to stand against the harassment of the members of the National Assembly, but we are here to stand against the destruction of democracy in Nigeria. If we do not speak against what is happening today, democracy will end in Nigeria. Because the way we are going today, the way the country is sliding into a dictatorship, into autocracy, is a dangerous sign that democracy is under threat in Nigeria. And we are here to stand firm as people, as Nigerians who love democracy, as the youth of Nigeria, to stand firm and say that no, this intimidation must stop. To say that we are standing for democracy. The security forces, they cannot kill us. They cannot kill every Nigerian. We are not armed. We are here to speak. We are here to speak against what is happening. We are here in a peaceful demonstration, and they cannot kill us, they cannot destroy us all. Even if we die, our bones shall speak. Even if we die, Nigerians shall rise. Other Nigerians shall rise to speak against what is happening. We are going to stand here. We are going to be under the element, under the rain, to protest peacefully against what is happening in this country, against the intimidation of our lawmakers, against the intimidation of our leaders. Let them tell us what the Senate President, Saraki, and let them tell us what the Deputy Senate President has done. Let them tell us what Senator Ekwerem Madu has done. He has done nothing wrong but to stand for the Nigerian people. He has done nothing wrong but to stand for the common man. He has done nothing wrong than to stand for democracy. And they are trying to intimidate him. They are trying to suppress his voice. They are trying to suppress our voice. We are standing here and we are saying that this will not continue. This is not the democracy this is not the democracy that our leaders fought for. This is not the democracy we all went out in the street to fight for. This is not the democracy that a lot of us died. I remember then I was a student. A lot of us were shot, a lot of students were killed when we were trying to make sure that democracy come to stay in Nigeria. And I stand here to lend my voice with the teeming crowd of supporters here to say that this intimidation must not continue.
We are here on the solidarity movement. We are here to make a statement. The era of clapping down on our leaders is over. The era of impunity is over. You can see us standing on the rain. Today, as I speak to you, the house of the Deputy Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is under siege. It has been barricaded. There is no entrance. There is no coming out. Our effort to try to access him, they were intimidating us. They were harassing us. They were pointing gun at us. This is not military era. This is democracy. And there is nowhere whatsoever where our leaders are being threatened, where our leaders are being subjugated to humiliation. This is the height of embarrassment in this country. And we are here to let them know that enough is enough. That, look, we as an opposition voice, people are allowed to migrate from any political party to any political party of their choice. They cannot be intimidated. A number 3 man cannot be accused of robbery. All they are trying to do is a plot to ensure that the opposition voices are being shut down. As young people in this country, we say no to that and will do everything humanly possible to reject these shenanigans that is happening in this APC-led government.
The APC-led government must understand that it's not business as usual. Intimidation, any form of any kind of violence cannot actually stop democracy in Nigeria. The Deputy Senate President is a lawmaker who need to carry out his work for his constituency. He cannot be under house arrest. The Senate President cannot be intimidated. Nigeria are saying that democracy must stand. The PDP-led government set a legacy, which is the democracy. The democracy must be respected. The rule of law must be respected. You cannot intimidate people just because they are not on the same page with you. The government must understand that it's not business as usual. This is democracy, and nothing anybody can do about it, and democracy must continue. If we speak right now, if you go to his house, because you can see the police are actually stopping us from going inside, his house is full of armed policemen, and they are stopping everybody from going inside. You cannot go inside and you cannot come outside. This is not allowed. This is a democratic country.
Annoyance, our anger. We are not criminals. We are not terrorists. We cannot carry arms and ammunition. What we need to do today is to tell the world this problem. We believe in one thing, which is the truth. We must engage on politics of hypocrisy and mendacity. I want to tell you that we are not happy over what is happening today in Nigeria within our democracy. We don't want a situation whereby democracy will be truncated.
The message is just simple. We are the guardians of democracy. We are here against the persecution of the leadership of our National Assembly. Democracy, as we all know, is not government of some people, by some people, and for some people. Therefore, the dividends associated with democracy must be enjoyed by all.
We are celebrating the king himself.
No, I was at the Riola rally. I wasn't feeling well. I was in Lagos. I flew in this morning. As I landed, I was told Senate President was under siege. 10 minutes later, I was told the Deputy Senate President was under siege. I placed calls to our leaders. Nobody answered the phone. I ran to the Senate to find out what was happening. They confirmed both of them were under siege. After a while, I found out that the Senate President was able to get away at 5 a.m. or something like that. He escaped and got to the Senate and was waiting. And I understand that Dino facilitated that. When I tried to reach the Deputy Senate President, I was informed he was under siege, but we must all go to the Senate. Two things crossed my mind. One, they wanted to effect a change of leadership. Two, they wanted to stop the defection of APC senators to PDP. For that to happen, there has to be seating. If the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President could not hold the session today, then certainly there could not be any defection and we were going to close on Thursday. So what crossed my mind was both of them would be arrested or kept under house arrest until Thursday, and that defection could not take place. Nobody was sure what the real motive was, but that was what we thought. That's what we all thought. So we got to the Senate. PDP members of the House of Rep all moved into our chambers to provide us solidarity. Then we found out that Saraki was there, he moved in, and the rest is history. They were going to have about 25 members, maybe 30. So what happened was, when this happened, they quickly got the 15 members that were in the chambers. So the first 15 they saw, they put their names down and we announced those. This was not the way it was planned. But because they put a siege on the homes of our leaders, we had to make a decision. The decision was for 15 members who were in chambers to defect immediately. And that's what
So what you're saying now is that we should expect more defections?
Yes, there'll be more defections. It could be 5, it could be 10. I mean, you know, it depends on what happens. Today, we had 15. Who knows? 5, 10, 20, it depends on what happens.
Thank my colleague senators. You can see that they're here in their number to show solidarity and support to me. I feel very honored that when they didn't see me in chambers today and hearing what had happened, they came here to show solidarity and support. So I want to thank the entire Senate, the Senate President, the leadership of the Senate, and all the other senators for making time to be here. Every senator, almost every senator is here. And I'd like to thank the Nigerian public who showed support and solidarity all through this morning when all this started. And I'm aware that Nigerian youth also rose to the occasion. They were in their poll quarters in their numbers. And the men of the press were also very on hand to record what's going on. So I want to thank the media, thank the young people of Nigeria, the People's Democratic Party too, for their support and solidarity. They were here all through the rain. And my colleagues, I can see they're all here now. And the people of Enugu State understand too that there's outrage in Enugu. I would like to thank my people and then just to say that this is democracy in action. This is the people's power. That's what we have seen. So the people who came to block my house and then to lay siege in my house, my compound, and instead of these quarters, they left out about 12:30 after spending about 6.5 hours. So, and now my colleagues were able to come in. Those who wanted to come in before weren't able to come in. Now they are here. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for this support and solidarity. Let us stand for our democracy. We must remain strong for the Nigerian people to ensure that we are able to reverse this kind of impunity that's going on. And then we have to enthrone a new Nigeria where justice will be upheld, where there will be rule of law, and where there will be respect for human rights. And Nigerians will be able to have the full benefit of democracy. So what we are seeing now is a decline in our democracy. So we hope and believe that Nigerians will stand strong to ensure we put this thing behind us and be able to make Nigeria a better place, progressive, united. So this is a new day for democracy. Well, we had anticipated that a number of our colleagues in APC would defect to PDP this morning. And in anticipation of that, the APC leadership had tried to stop them. And when that didn't happen, first they invited the Senate President to come to the police this morning. And they believe that if the Senate President goes to the police, that I will be coming to preside and probably read the letter of defection. So in anticipation of that, the police, the EFCC, and other security agencies brought together a number of people, over 200 of them, to come to make sure that I don't go to the National Assembly. They purportedly came with a letter inviting me to come to the EFCC and give explanation over things they said my names were mentioned in one of the investigations. So I said, okay, let me go and see them. They said, no, I'm not leaving. So I was ready to go and answer whatever they wanted me to answer, but they were not eager to let me go. So essentially, they want to make sure I don't go to the National Assembly in the hope that they will also have stopped the Senate President by asking him to come to the police. So unfortunately to them, Senate President was already at the Senate. and so he had to preside. So when I heard he was going to sit down, I simply relaxed until they got tired and left. So that is actually what happened. But that is not a good day for democracy. That's not a good thing for this country. We must know how to respect the law, respect institutions, because that is the only way we can make progress as a country. This is a total embarrassment to our nation, and I hope that this will not happen again. Very, very worried, because this is, as I said, this is a decline in our democracy. Democracy is almost dying. So you don't need to rise up. I want to call the media, the people of Nigeria, the international community, to stand up with Nigeria to ensure that we save our democracy. Because what we are seeing now is a dangerous development, and it is not good for our democracy. Nigeria is a leading light in Africa. The whole world expects Nigeria to lead the democratic principles. And if we don't do that, that means we are leading from the back. So this is not good for us. So we need to overcome this kind of thing and be able to make progress and show the world that Nigerians are indeed leaders in every aspect of life. Definitely, because this is essentially my official quarters. So it means that the invasion of my official quarters is the invasion of aspect of National Assembly. So when you invade the National Assembly, you are invading the tempo of democracy. So that's exactly what has happened today. So this is a major assault on democracy. So, and for the Senate President, his convoy was also stopped, but unfortunately today he had reached the National Assembly. So this is not the type of thing we should be encouraging. So in democracy, the principal thing is dialogue. It is discussion. It's reaching out to people. It's networking. That is how democracy survives, but not through threats, intimidation. Nobody allows the democracy to thrive in that kind of circumstance. So I believe that we need to have a rethink. That democracy is about discussion, it's about talking. Okay, look at what has happened now. Senate has now gone on recess when a lot of bills and approvals and confirmation are still outstanding there. So Nigerians are losing. So whoever gave the president this kind of advice, or those who did this, whoever gave them the advice is not a good friend of Nigeria. So I just hope that Nigerians will stand against this kind of impunity, and let us see how we can make our country greater than it is today.
Today is the greatest day for democracy. And I want to congratulate heroes of this democracy and the defender of democracies. The Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, the Speaker, senators, and members of House of Representatives are the defenders and heroes of democracy in Nigeria. And so we congratulate them and congratulate all Nigerians and their constituencies for defending democracy in Nigeria. I believe on behalf of the party, the PDP, we welcome all our members. They will have equal rights with the other members of our party. Our party is free and democratic. We believe that the assault on the National Assembly, the early hours of this morning, was an assault on Nigerians. And so our leaders must stand up and defend democracy. And of course, as you know, technically, the APC government has collapsed. We call on President Buhari to defend democracy. The assault on democracy in Nigeria must not be tolerated, either on the legislature or other structures of the executive arms to the state level or on the judiciary. We must be a country that must defend the rule of law. What happened this morning was sad, but to God be the glory that the Senate and the House of Representatives are matured, and the men and women that was chosen by our country to represent us as National Assembly had done us proud, and they have defended democracy. There is no amount of intimidation, there is no amount of harassment and frame-up that will work. Can you imagine this morning the entire premises of the resident of the Senate President and the residence of the Deputy Senate President was barricaded for what? Is that the rule of law? The second arm of government, the executive are using their powers, the executive order 6, to harass and intimidate our legislators. This is not the kind of democracy that we want in this country. And we are coming out by the grace of God, because we know that God has left the APC government. They should be warned that you cannot kill and you cannot harass, and it will not be long. The eyes of God is upon this nation. The eyes of the international community is also upon this nation. The harassment has gotten into a new dimension where the APC government and the president want to claim that they must dictate. We are not in dictatorial government. We are not in the military government. We are in for democracy, and it must be practiced like every other world-recognized democracy. We thank Nigerians, we thank our people in the Senate and the House of Representatives for standing in for democracy. Thank you, and God bless all Nigerians.